we feeling, Swarla Nation? There's been some major developments for the Swarla pairing, the sapphic couple of longtime Coronation Street resident Carla and relative newcomer Lisa Swain over the last few weeks. So major, I felt it was high time that I did a wee catch-up on these ladies. We were told that this year would be huge for them, that they would be tested, but by the end of the year would end up together, and that has been a welcome piece of information to keep in mind as we journey through the return of Lisa's wife of 20 years, who was meant to be dead, but it turns out is not. Did you guess that this would be the turn of events? I suspected it could go this way because what is more soapy than a spouse coming back from the dead, especially since she's been a constant presence in Carla and Lisa's relationship from the get-go. It of course had to happen just as our lovely ladies were deliriously happy having officially committed to each other. Of course, Carla's joy had to be lampooned. It's just how the soapy cookie crumbles. And while some I know are not happy about this, including Vicky Myers, who plays Lisa, whose initial reaction when she read the script was,
no offence, no disrespect to Amy at all, but I went, oh no. Oh no.
Although I think she's warmed up now.
But then when we talked about it, and we went further into sort of Lisa and Becky's relationship and what that was like and when they first met and so on. I thought actually that's a really interesting story to tell. Where it ends up, I don't know, but for now, I thought it was something that needed to be told.
I personally have enjoyed what we've gotten so far for reasons I'll discuss later. If you want to see my recap and review of the first part of the Swarla relationship, click the link at the top of the screen. While we're at it, if you want an easy way to support my channel, a thumbs up would be massively appreciated. And I also wanted to mention my Patreon, where I do bonus videos, a Xena Warrior Princess podcast. I have a handy database of over 500 sapphic film and TV offerings and other goodies, so do check it out. Thank you to my supporters. You make my channel possible. So let's look at what Swarla have been up to since my last video on the couple that feels like an actual eon ago because it was way back in March, and then cinch all the threads together that the show has been teasing out as our ladies face their latest obstacle. I posted my last video when Rob, Carla's brother, was at large and stalking Betsy with an infected suture from having donated his kidney to Carla and then escaping before he could be taken back to prison. He then tried to hold Carla at gunpoint. Lisa once again went rogue by going into a hostage situation without backup because delightfully she loves Carla that much.
In it right up to my neck.
But she also, in the altercation, ended up accidentally shooting Betsy as she tussled with Rob. With Betsy potentially losing the feeling in her arm permanently, Lisa did not handle it well, and it led to a biting remark because Rob got into Lisa's brain to wheedle at her.
I should warn you about Carla. Everyone around her gets burned. No, she has this way of circling the drain while the rest of us get pulled into the sewer.
Lisa, freewheeling from feeling guilty, then turns all of her fear and guilt onto Carla.
See, this is not your fault. It's not on you. No, it's not. It's yours. And your brother's fault. She was trusting me instincts. My daughter got shot. So right now my focus needs to be on her. Not you.
Not your best moment, Lisa. How dare you stab Carla and all her insecurities right in the heart. Carla was an absolute champ about it. I really can't fault her.
I mean, I can always move out for a bit. If you need some space, I can do that. I don't need space. I need you.
This whole scene was delicious in that totally angsty way because not only do we get a declaration from Carla,
as far as what I want, okay, this is it.
Which speaks to how Carla is already very committed to both Lisa and Betsy, but we also get Lisa's vulnerable, tear-streaked face reflecting that love and commitment right back. When Betsy is told that Lisa is the one who shot her, it did highlight a theme that had already been teased out between mother and daughter, namely that Betsy feels like Lisa chooses her work over her family, which is not an unfair statement. Lisa has, by her own admission, said that she buried herself in her work after Becky died, and given Betsy's other mother died in the line of duty, or so they believe at this stage, her reaction to Lisa actively putting herself in danger is not surprising. As I also mentioned in my previous video, Lisa has prioritized work over Carla as well, even skipping out on a romantic meal with her to answer the call of duty. This is all very tied up in her grief for Becky, and Becky's ever-present ghost has lingered in so many corners of both Lisa and Betsy's lives, has inserted itself like an unwanted third wheel in Carla and Lisa's relationship, and even in Carla and Betsy's relationship, because Betsy has acted out a lot, and it has created some tension over this year, because at times Carla has felt like Lisa has been too lenient with Betsy's bad behavior. Hearing Lisa talk about Becky, we've been led to assume that she was the fun mum, the mum who connected with Betsy. In short, she was a better mum than Lisa, and that has been a core vulnerability for her. It's played, I'd say, more than a little bit into the rough relationship she's had with Betsy and her struggle balancing parenting her while both are going through their grief. Betsy's definitely calmer now, and I like to think it's because of Carla's steadying influence. She's been a bridge between them, a voice of reason for when Lisa has been overwhelmed, and calming Betsy down from some behaviors that I could have seen spiraling. She has been so good for the two of them. Lisa's latent grief for Becky was triggered at the end of May when Police Constable Craig Tinker, one of Lisa's co-workers and longtime resident of Coronation Street, died. And I have to say that as out of the blue and as poor as the timing was, I do love Lisa's go-to reaction.
Marry me. What? Marry me.
Just like when Rob kidnapped Carla or when he took her hostage, Lisa's unfailing instinct has been to run headlong into danger to protect her. So her running headlong into a proposal when she's at her most vulnerable and shaken up is perfect, and I love it. Like she said,
Be hopeless at casual.
but as delightful as having Lisa propose like that was, and all that it implies, I'm also so glad to see Carla being more clear-headed about it. In fact, her communication skills were downright sexy. Lisa was being avoidant because that is her MO, but also because she was feeling hurt about Carla saying no. Not, mind you, because Carla didn't like the idea, but because it really was bad timing. And so Carla forces Lisa to have a proper discussion about it, which has been one of the really lovely parts of their relationship. As often as they have had conflict, they found a space to discuss and therefore to navigate it.
When we know what we want, then there ain't nothing going to keep me from that church. Or registry office. Or whatever you want, really. Beach in Ibiza. Beach in Ibiza, now you're talking.
I thought this was a dynamic way to raise the idea of marriage. I think most of us already had it on our radar as a possibility, as frustrating as it has been to feel like large chunks of their early relationship got skipped over. You know, going from a 9-month slow burn to them getting 1.5 seconds before they moved in together. Carla was, as she declared, falling in love with a local copper, and then the kidney transplant drama hitting all in the space of a week. It did, however, help to frame Lisa and Carla as a solid couple. I do wish we hadn't fast-tracked or skipped through so much of the early stages of their relationship, but it does show intent for keeping them as a serious long-term couple on the show. Now, I do have to voice my other frustration from this period of their story, namely the long droughts between scenes. We could go pretty much for weeks at a time without anything from our ladies, which... brutal, especially given the sparse to non-existent affection between them for a while there, and how it felt like that damned kitchen counter or that couch was a perpetual barrier between them to represent the metaphorical barrier between them, namely the grief Lisa was still carrying for the death of Becky, which, when combined with the insecurity that we've seen Carla express multiple times, has made for some low-lying tension. When Carla found out about needing her kidney transplant, she was ready to preemptively break up with Lisa.
This isn't what you signed up for, and I think you should probably do the sensible thing and walk away.
On the occasions when Lisa has behaved, let's say, less well than she could have, she's quick to put her own needs aside, and even told Lisa,
That's what I mean. Why would you want to marry me anyway? I'm a nightmare. Everybody says it.
all these little markers speak to a core vulnerability in Carla. I think of being abandoned or not being good enough, which, given her past, I could see where that comes from. Liam, as the person she would have called, I like to think, until Lisa, the love of her life, he did not choose her, and to dig deeper, neither did her mother, who chose drugs and alcohol over her. What was very sexy of Lisa is that she's caught Carla minimizing her own feelings and acknowledged that her taking her anger out on Carla is not okay.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
No. It's fine.
It's not fine. But even so, I shouldn't be lashing out on you of all people.
Oh, don't be daft. It's what I'm here for.
No, Carla, it is not what you're here for, but thank you for making me feel a bit less of a cow.
Love it. But that is not to say that those feelings have gone away for Carla, and they are certainly feeding into how things are playing out with Becky being back. We get to learn a few things about Becky around the time of Craig's death. She was being investigated for corruption when she died, and that the last time Lisa saw her, they had argued over it because for a moment Lisa had wondered if it was true, and as she put it, it broke something between them. Shortly after, Lisa ended up sitting down with a counsellor when, as a result of all the stirred up emotions from Craig's death, she misstepped and found herself on desk duty until she had talked to a therapist. Carla, who has had her own mental health issues in the past, was encouraging of this because, gotta say it, Lisa can be emotionally avoidant. It was satisfying to see Lisa begin to delve into all of that, even if it was only motivated by wanting to get off desk duty. I was so happy to see her starting to process everything she'd compartmentalized. Best of all, this led to some tangible progress for Carla and Lisa in that Lisa took off Becky's wedding ring, which is massive, and the fact that they started looking for a house together, also huge. It seems to me like Carla was needing these signs that Lisa was beginning to move on in order to feel comfortable about a future for them, and for a while it felt like we segued into something a bit calmer for our ladies with the kind of fluff I have been hankering for. Be it the pride celebration at the Rovers where Carla tells Lisa,
"Get your sexy bum into the shower now, and we're going to go out and enjoy ourselves."
Them trying and failing to go to a concert together because some kid snuck into Underworld. Honestly, how often has Underworld been broken into in the last couple of years? Or them going to a live drawing class together just to have some fun, which warms the cockles of my heart. It felt to me like our ladies were in a really good place, and evidently Carla felt the same because she decided to propose.
Are you going to propose?
Brian, I've not been this happy for a long time.
You are, aren't you? You're going to propose?
Yes.
Come here.
The whole protracted efforts from Carla trying and failing to propose at the Rovers of all places, and then the comedy of the backyard proposal definitely had me chuckling.
I'd find it a lot easier to relax if you weren't so...
If I was what?
Well, I don't know what...
Music.
What?
No. Oh, no, not this. No.
What's this switching off? What's that?
I am trying to.
Such fun. I love that they made such a meal out of the build-up to it all, showing the importance of their relationship for the show. I appreciate how it was framed in such a light-hearted way instead of angst-filled. The fact Betsy was so enthusiastic when Carla asked her for her mum's hand in marriage showed how far their relationship had come, and it was super sweet. The way the marriage proposal eventually played out, I mean, not how I would have done it, Lisa, but it was still cute and so joyful. Carla being so giddy and proud was adorable. Has she ever been this happy at getting engaged? I don't actually know, but it felt significant. However, knowing dramatic soapy structure, I had a feeling that there would be something to pop the happy little bubble our ladies had been in for the last little while. So of course, that is when Becky decided to show her face, and may I say, she has a face I'd like to slap. We're given this image of Becky that made her seem like an amazing person at first, but over time and as Lisa shared more, and now that we've met her, it's very plain to see that the image and the reality do not match up. It seems that Lisa has idealized Becky in many ways, as you may well do after they pass, but there have equally been all these little hints that Becky was not as great as Lisa had portrayed her to be. The fact that she was being investigated for fraud, the fact that Lisa admitted she had for a moment doubted her integrity, and that in her therapy sessions she's admitted more than once that she wasn't sure if she even knew her.
You know, I always thought that I knew her, but now I'm wondering if I did.
How well do we really know anyone?
The question mark over Becky's true nature has only magnified now that she's here. As the reality of Becky being alive settles, I hope she'll begin to see what a frankly nasty, manipulative snake she is. I hope that once she's able to think clearly again, because I don't think she's thinking clearly right now, she's going to realize that Becky is and was toxic. The fact that Becky has waltzed into Carla and Lisa's house multiple times since she's come back is not only deeply annoying, but shows a total lack of boundaries and of respect. She's refusing to take accountability for pretending to be dead, saying that she did it for her family, but I don't buy that for a second. If Lisa and Betsy were truly in danger, they would have gone under witness protection with her, and then she has the gall to say that she suffered more than them when she has no idea how much Lisa and Betsy have suffered, which we have had a front row seat to for over a year. Her decision has fundamentally changed both Lisa and Betsy at their very core in a way that can never be undone, and it feels like she's not prepared to acknowledge that. Like I said, a face I'd like to slap. Then when she manipulates Lisa into helping her move her furniture into her home and the car won't start, she says something I found to be very, very telling.
I always loved winding you up. Yeah, I remember.
This says so much about their dynamic. Becky winding Lisa up because she knows she can, even if she's poking at a deep and weeping wound.
I just don't do well with nice.
Yeah, well, stick around. My second cup of coffee, I'm going to be your worst nightmare.
I get the feeling that Becky was subtly undermining and gaslighting Lisa for years without Lisa realizing it, which would explain why she felt like she was such a terrible mum, why she sought refuge in what she thought she was good at, her work. It would explain why her self-esteem about parenting was so low. It has been eroded away over years by Becky's corrosive digs. I'm also guessing that Becky framed herself as the fun mum who Betsy could run wild with, if that passing reference to how Becky let Betsy drive in a parking lot underage is anything to go by.
My other mum taught me in Freshco car park.
What? No, she didn't. I'd have known.
And so it was left to Lisa to impose the discipline and structure. You might be able to tell I do not like Becky, and it's not just because she's turned up to rupture the domestic bliss for the Coniswain household. I fully expect her motivations in showing up now will prove to be less than exemplary. The fraud charges, I could well imagine it's something far worse than that.
Becky was terrible with money.
What if she came back because she wants to get her hands on Betsy's trust fund before she can spend it, given she's now 18, because she's broke, or something equally despicable because nothing she's said has been particularly convincing as to why she's pretended to be dead or why she's showing up now, not even her showing up because she saw Lisa and Carla got engaged as she stalked them online. I don't buy it. Clearly neither does Carla, given she took her suspicions to Kit, and I expect a lot of dirt to come out down the line. And in the meantime, I also think Becky is going to enjoy trying to be a wedge between Lisa and Carla. She has that malicious twinkle in her eye that suggests to me that she wants to see how much power does she still hold over Lisa. I don't really see Becky as a serious competition for Lisa's heart. However, I think if Lisa suspecting Becky might be bent for a swift second is enough to break something between them, then Becky pretending to be dead has shattered and ground their love to dust. The anger and depth of betrayal we saw from Lisa when she found out Becky was alive spoke to that. I do think she will try to wreak havoc though, and my hope is that she won't manipulate Lisa into doing something that materially changes my feelings about Lisa and Carla being together. I feel very protective of Carla. She deserves some love and peace, and she's reining herself in something fierce in order to be supportive. After Friday's episode where Lisa refused to let Becky eat from her plate, honestly, the gall was a clear sign that Lisa is putting in boundaries, but with 20 years of history together, it's not that cut and dry. I imagine Becky will keep testing these boundaries. I'm so glad Lisa did that though, because I think Carla really needed to see that boundary being put in place. My heart absolutely goes out to her because she's doing her best to be level-headed, but that conversation with Ryan revealed just how insecure she is feeling.
If she leaves me, she leaves me. Fair dues.
And to her credit, she has more than once raised how difficult this is for her, not keeping quiet about how it's been affecting her.
This isn't really kind of the situation that makes a girl secure, Lisa. It's just a bit much to wrap my head around, that's all.
But up until this last episode, Lisa, being Lisa, hasn't done much to calm her fears aside from emphatically declaring that she's still marrying Carla. It took Carla snapping at Becky in front of Lisa and Betsy to make Lisa reflect on how difficult it must be for her. But to her credit, after she saw that, she opened up the conversation with,
Want to talk about it?
Yes, please. Hey.
oh, it did me in. These two are so precious. I don't think it was only Carla needing to hear Lisa's words of assurance because I needed to hear them too. Now, it seems that Becky is going to be around for a bit, and it'll no doubt feed into the bigger mystery that has been built around her and D.I. Costello and what shady business they've been up to. I imagine there will be some more fallout with Betsy as she grapples with her other mum being back, and I hope that is the bigger storyline that Becky will service. My other hope is that through all of this story is going to lead to Lisa healing from the grief and trauma we've seen her go through and actively choosing Carla as her future.
But we will get through this. Because that's how you and me roll.
So that Carla gets to know that she deserves to be chosen. So basically character growth and healing for my gals and bringing some closure to the threads that have been laid down since the beginning of their relationship that result in them being even more rock solid. Also, very importantly, to remove the ever-present ghost of Becky from their dynamic so they can face the future together. If that is how Becky is utilized, wouldn't that be so insanely satisfying? It would also make all the aggravation of Becky showing up worthwhile. Let me know how you've been experiencing this new development, how you see it playing out, and until next time, lady lovers.